got a whole case of water over here because I'm going to need it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 2 of Babbling about Boba Fett. Now, I am joined by two of my favorite people in the world. To my left is the incomparable Paul Anthony. And to my right, the Nev. Paul, the Nev, welcome.
Hello there, Thad.
Hold on. Say something into the... Okay, you're both talking. Nev?
Okay, I'm gonna talk and make sure that we're unmuted. Does the little bar go off to the side?
Little bar goes up. Okay,
we're not on mute, so we don't have to like start again like we did this Friday. Remember, Paul?
Oh yes, I remember.
That was so funny.
Just you wait. The maybe I'll put Thad in charge of running the show in a week and a half.
Oh, that'd be a terrible idea.
Oh my God! Don't you wouldn't do something like that to me.
You're right. I wouldn't do something like that.
That would be a terrible idea for everyone involved.
Yes.
I gotta say, guys. First off, Nev. Last week, I got a comment about you specifically that was Nev seems grumpy, and I was. Yeah, I mean, because you were traditional, no holds barred. You have your very specific feelings towards our work, towards episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
But you seem to be in much greater spirits today. Much higher spirits. Yeah.
Oh, do I?
You do. So I'm curious. And I haven't talked to you about it. I have a feeling I know where Paul is coming from, but
Did I already give it away?
Well, no, because we do the show the day before the next episode, which I love, actually, by the way, because it gets
I love the idea of doing that. Yeah,
it really it keeps everything front and fresh in my mind. So when I'm going into episode 3, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's what I was talking about last night. That's what I was thinking about. What was addressed? Was it fixed? In all of that stuff. And so, welcome, Rusty Jason. And so going into episode and Jorge. Sorry, Jorge. First off, I've got to say, Jorge. It took me way too long to realize that that's how you said your name. I mean, it's spelled phonetically. I don't know why it took me so long. Anyways, so I go into the episode. It's Wednesday, and as we're officially, I'm teaching, and then Paul texts me and messages me on Discord, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, it's the best thing ever. And I'm like, shut up, Paul, shut up, no spoilers. I still have 2 hours of work left. Stop it. And so I was really excited, and I was really hyped up, and I told myself, I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch the episode, and I was a little hesitant, but I was excited, so I'm gonna watch the episode, and as I watch the episode, I'm going to, get some other stuff done. I could not pull myself away from the episode. I couldn't. It was spectacular. And I'm very excited to talk to you gentlemen about it today. So, welcome, everyone.
Hello, Governor.
Yes, that was a long intro, but no one's ever accused me of being short-winded. Ever. Hold on.
Okay.
You were gonna fall over in that chair.
Well,
holding on.
All right, I'm back. All right. So I am so freaking excited. Okay, so what were our biggest complaints from episode 1? Let's start there.
It was short.
It was short. That to me, that was like...
It didn't advance the story. It didn't tell us much.
Nope, it did not. The flashbacks were half I think
there were no books in the Book of Boba Fett.
that's a valid point. That was about. We did get a data pad in this one, so there was technically a book in this one. A legal ledger. I'm not entirely sure. So one of the things that I know that Nev said was that this was a softer, gentler side of Boba Fett, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nev, did that
touch the feel of cotton?
It did touch the feel of cotton. The feel of cotton. I thought you said they touched the feel of cotton. I was like,
well, I mean, my concerns, which I aired after the first episode, were that we were getting kind of two different Bobbas.
Yeah.
The Boba that we were getting that had just taken the throne and made himself boss man seems like weak and a bit of a pussy.
Yeah.
A bit of a pushover. And I kind of suggested that maybe he's addicted to Bacta, and that's what's affecting him. What do we get but more of badass Boba in all the flashbacks, kicking ass and taking names, despite the fact it's very fresh in his mind and in his body exactly what the long-term issues were with the injuries that he sustained being in the Sarlacc and getting digested, for God's sakes. It's kind of an issue. I did do some digging on this to see if this is kind of ever been touched on in Star Wars lore before, and there was one other case of it.
Was there?
Again, yes, there has been one other theory case regarding something similar, but it's still Disney Star Wars because it's from Rogue One, and it was regarding the Vader scene. The Vader scene up on the ship where he's like Vader he's been more badass than we've ever seen before. Came immediately after came shortly after a kind of like dip in some Bacta. He had a Bacta bath, and that's why he's so brutal. That's why you see him being so brutal going solo. But obviously, there are times where he needs to fall back on the 501st, which is his, personal squadron. And I was like, are we going to get more of that? It doesn't. Yeah, they just seem to be making the Boba Fett that's in flashbacks considerably more badass than Dad Bob Boba.
Now I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna use this moment to. Was it Paul or was it Neville? I'm gonna bring it back up. Paul shared this with us just through our chat, and it says Jabba ruled with fear, with intimidation. I intend to rule with respect. And then Phoenix says you shot Bid Fortuna in the face, respectfly. Yeah. I feel like me. Yeah, I'm looking at that and I'm like, yeah, that's. I mean, but that was in The Mandalorian, not the Book of Boba, right?
It was at the very beginning.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay, well, still. I mean, I argue the point that they had to start with. Anyways, so I feel that a lot of my issues were addressed. From last week to this, it's a much longer episode. It was 54-minute runtime, something like that.
At least 50.
Yeah, it was definitely 50, and then you've got like all the many credits that come with a
international release.
Yeah, international release, because there were a lot. But it was a good run. Like, I will say that there was almost as much story in the current time in book 2 or in episode 2, chapter 2, whatever you want to call it, than episode 1 had as a runtime.
Definitely.
Like I felt.
Yeah, I'd agree I'd agree with
I mean,
that,
it's
yeah.
close. It's not exact by any means. It's a 51-minute runtime. So count what 46-ish minutes, which I feel great. That's awesome. I thought they did a great job back and forth. But let's go ahead and let's start this off. Opening scene, you get Fennec Shand walking our lone assassin, back up to Boba's palace. Now, I gotta say, like, that's a huge palace. That's a huge place. Do you ever think it gets lonely in that?
It was supposed to feel lonely. It used to be a monastery.
All right, that's a valid point. But still, I mean, Jabba filled it with dancers. You think he'd get, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Then
more
he wasn't
Gamorrean
lonely.
guards. He wasn't lonely.
The monks would have really, really dug the acoustics. That's probably why they built it like that. You know, their chanting would like just totally reverberate off the walls.
No, that would have been dope. So we bring up Fennec brings him up, right? She takes her seat at Boba's right hand. And I love that, like, one of the few words that our assassin gets is F you, buddy. Echuta, right? Which apparently is inappropriate to say.
Yeah, I mean, now you're going to have to put this down as not
friendly.
safe for work.
Yeah. Thanks, Nev. Every time Nev's on, it's just I run that risk. But it's worth it. So he won't say anything, and then we've got Matt Berry, the droid, he's like, this is a Night Wind assassin, and he will not speak. And then Fennec's like, you're paying for the name. This guy's a load of crap. I love Fennec's confidence. But in my mind, this is the Boba Fett that I think that a lot of people have been wanting to see. They've been wanting that Dawn Mafia boss, hard A, willing to murder and kill and not have to be drug off by Gamorreans, right? He's like, well, if he's not going to speak, let's take his head off, right? It wasn't a threat, I don't think. He would have killed him, right? He didn't have to, but Fennec is like, well, he's not going to speak, so let's drop him into a Rancor pit. And they do. And everyone talks when it comes to the Rancor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Paul, do you know where our Rancor is, by the way? You read
Moochie.
Aftermath, right? Not Moochie. Not Moochie. We don't know where the hell Moochie is.
Our Rancor is dead.
No, my friend. So here's the thing. We are going to talk tonight a lot about the modern canon because there's a lot of stuff that was connected here. So, we've got our Rancor is currently somewhere in the vicinity of Cobb Vanth. Right?
Okay.
So if you go back and you look at Star Wars Aftermath, they have these little asides, like in each chapter, between each chapter, these little moments, and this is where we get what's going on with the armor of Boba Fett, right? Or at least one of the asides follows Cobb Vanth through the armor with the armor of Boba Fett. As he's settling Freetown, which is the location that we saw in Book 2, or I guess Book 2 of The Mandalorian, one of the things that I think is really neat is he brings in Jabba's Rancor Wrangler. And Jabba's Rancor Wrangler not only has like a Rancor egg, I believe, but he has Hutlings. Little baby Hutts.
Okay.
And so
I had not fully read Aftermath, so you're educating me in this situation.
You should. It's awesome. It's a great book.
So what are you what canons are you suggesting that these little nuggets bring together?
What do you mean by cannons?
Well, you're saying that is what everything what you just said there canon.
Okay,
canon.
so when I say canon, I mean modern canon, not your canon, Nev. Which most people, I think.
So that's not extended universe history that's being brought over into modern canon.
No, it's modern canon existing.
Del Rey timeline. Del Rey timeline,
right? So, and again, it really just, I think it'll really depend on where they go with this. I know a lot of people are saying that the Book of Boba Fett is trying to rewrite 7, 8, and 9. I'm not entirely sure about that. I think Rebels tried to rewrite 7, 8, and 9 as it was happening. But anyways,
you can't rewrite you can't you can't rewrite 7, 8, and 9.
No, but you can get rid of them.
No, you can't get rid of them. I had this discussion. Kind of
we had this. You and I had this discussion
on Friday on Patreon. You cannot eradicate or remove episodes 7, 8, and 9, and here's the reason why. Obviously, the rumors, it's that an event has to happen before the events of 7, 8, and 9 that give us a new timeline that allow us to make new movies, just simply numbered episodes 7, 8, and 9. Here's the thing. You cannot erase 7, 8, and 9 from their history books because that timeline has to have existed in order for the timeline skew to happen at a different point in Star Wars, theatrical stuff going on.
Yeah.
So let's say the argument is that they could potentially do something in one of the TV shows or one of the movies that immediately interacts between the singular point between episode 7, 8, and 9 and Return of the Jedi, and that is the Emperor's death and going into his room of mirrors, which takes him to the Veil of the Force, teleports him across the galaxy to that planet, and everything. That's the point in the so the rumor is that point in the timeline is going to be altered, right? So that they can move forward with the exact same characters, because the characters themselves would still come into existence. You know, Poe and Rey and Finn, and
they'd still be them.
They would still come into existence in the galaxy. It's just that you're running it on a different timeline now, so different things could happen. Han and Leia could have even more kids. But the important thing is you cannot just remove episodes 7, 8, and 9 because you need to be able to see them, watch them, and understand them, and that's why going back to this moment-changing episode of TV that they do on Disney Plus requires episodes 7, 8, and 9 to still exist and still happen, or it would never create a reason to have the change. So,
No, I agree. I think you're right. I don't think they can get rid of it. But I just think that, but that's the rumor that they're trying to get rid of. They're trying to, and I don't think that's the case.
I think that what's going to happen is I think they're going to multiverse this shit on us.
I think so too. I think that's very possible.
I think they're going to multiverse. I really do think they're going to multiverse us. But here's the thing: they've just done Visions, and they've said that Visions isn't canon. It's just stories, Star Wars stories.
Yeah.
So I can see that. I can see some number cruncher at Disney going, well, hang on a minute. We've got a boatload of extended universe comics and books that we could just throw together as animation and say, here you go. It's not part of canon, but at least you're going to see it as an animated.
It's fun. Yeah.
But it's fun. I'd be like, I don't give a shit. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
The fan-made Thrawn trilogy one that's on YouTube is fun to watch.
Yeah, I haven't seen the fan-made Thrawn one.
I mean, don't get me. The animation isn't amazing, but somebody's made animated. It's great.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So they decide, they're like, oh, the mayor sent me, and we're coming, and so they bring the assassin to the mayor. I love that bureaucracy in the Star Wars universe is as effective as bureaucracy in our universe. Because as Boba shows up, you get this Galen Howard, the city clerk, right? Just the guy who's like, do you have a reservation? Do you have an appointment? And like just the attitude that he has, and nothing against, you know, government workers, because I am one, you know, I'm a public employee, but the stigma that we have, I get it, I 100% get it, but I loved that, right? He comes out, and then there's this back and forth with the mayor. Do you still think the mayor is a lackey of some kind? Does he have his own agenda? Like, what is the mayor?
He'll have his own very, very small agenda, you know, his little bubble agenda going on, but ultimately he serves a purpose to somebody higher up with a much, much bigger, more nefarious agenda in mind.
Yeah. Paul, what are your thoughts? I mean, because we both thought that the mayor wasn't like the one in charge, but like I was not expecting this.
But he alluded to the fact that family. What was the line? Family is
it's harder than
more,
bounty hunting. Yeah,
raising a family is harder than bounty hunting.
Yeah,
and apparently, the next scene we get family. It ends up with the twins of Boba.
Oh my gosh!
Not of Boba, of Jabba.
Although, wouldn't it be funny if they were twins of Boba? You know,
no.
It was Rex and then Omega. Like,
stop that. I will leave.
So we get this. You know, hey, go and talk to the lady, right? Go and talk to the very attractive Garsa Whip, and go. She'll tell you. She'll let you know, right? So he walks in, and Boba's like, "So what is going on?" Right? We need to have a serious come to space Jesus moment, because you need to tell me what's going on. And like, she tells him, she's like, the twins, they're here. Boba immediately knows what she's talking about, right? Boba is very familiar with the Hutt cartel. He's familiar with how it's run, who's in charge, everything, right? And that's when the drum beats hit, right? That's when the bass drops, right? Everything goes quiet, right? Everything goes quiet, and like, you know, what's his face? The Max Rebo stops playing. He's like, whoa, oh crap! I better not piss off the Hutts.
Yes, we do know that he knows about the Hutt clan.
Yeah, very familiar with what's going on. Now, we also know who he works with, right? So I gotta say now, and Paul, I want your opinion on this when we get to it. But like, so the Hutts walk up, you know, they pull out their legal pad. They're like, hey, you know, we have a message. We own this. This is ours, right? And then,
last will and testament of Jabba the Hutt.
Of Jabba the Hutt. So Boba's like, look, and I think this is a legitimate point, because, like, Boba took it. He didn't take it over from Jabba. He took it over from Bib Fortuna, right? So, like, I think both have equal claim, or you know, he has a legitimate claim to this, right? I have taken over the cartel from Bib Fortuna, right? He was the major domo. He took over Jabba's role. I killed him. This is mine now. You want this? You got to come at me, right? Can I tell you one of my biggest disappointments? And I'm also glad that it didn't happen. The Hutt sister. I really wanted her to speak in Basic, and I wanted her to have a very Southern accent. I don't know why, but like with her fanning herself, I just wanted it to be like, oh my Lord, you know, the vapors. All right, I just wanted that, but I'm glad it didn't happen, obviously, but also a little disappointed. It would have been hilarious and wonderful. But they have this out, right? They're like, look, you know, well, yeah, sleep softly, buddy. We'll you know, we're coming for you, right? I declare, Bone says, like, but we've got this moment right before they're having this hash back and forth out, and out walks Black Chrysanthemum, right? The Wookiee over Paul's stage left shoulder, right? Or I guess stage
my right shoulder, stage left.
Stage
You're
left.
right.
Yeah, I was right. Oh my gosh. I've been expecting a lot of randomness, right? Like I knew that anything could be coming in the book of Boba Fett. I was not expecting him.
I was definitely not expecting to see BK.
I legitimately squealed. I was like, woo!
So did I. But you saw, I immediately texted in the group chat.
Yeah, that's when I got the message in the group chat. Black Coruscant.
Just listen to these two
Black
fanboying here. Oh my god! He gave.
Oh,
so, sound like me when I found out Mara Jade was coming to the game.
Okay, so I definitely am fanboying.
Yeah. So
I mean, there he is.
I love him.
By the way, size of the book.
That's ridiculous.
This is next to my head.
That's ridiculous. I'm gonna get that. That'll be what I spend my legislative money next year. Every year, the school gives me a little bit of money for like supplies. I spend it on books because I'm an English teacher. That will be the book I buy. The one book I buy. You know,
it pretty much is a college textbook.
Yeah. Do you want pens or no? Screw that. Give me the Dr. Aphra novel. You know, comic. But here's the thing. Like, Black Chrysanthemum, he's worked with Boba before, right? He has a background. Now, I don't think that it ended poorly either. Am I wrong? I didn't read the battle or the War of the Bounty Hunters.
Still going.
It's still going? Okay. So, but from what I understand in that moment in that book, right? At least from my point of view, if I remember correctly, because I haven't finished them all. They're not on bad terms.
No, not at all.
So
they fight. I mean, you know, it's gonna happen between you know, hired gun and boss.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm going to renew the call. Aphra and Kira had interactions.
Yeah.
This is not the end of hoping that Kira is going to show up.
I think she will. I think she absolutely will. I think it's possible we could see Aphra. I think this may be the closest reference we get to her. It's still possible. But like, I think it's very possible that he brings in all the like I don't know what's going on with the Bounty Hunter Guild, but I think that he could like.
Bones says, "Ooh, maybe he's gonna join forces with Boba." He has already
in the past.
In this book,
in the book, he joins forces with Boba, and that's what we mean. Like, they have a working relationship, and so it's not impossible. I said almost said impossible. It's not impossible.
Me fail English.
It's not impossible for them to be playing some kind of long con, right? right? For bounty hunters to have more, what do you call it? More, not survivability, but more culture, more connection, more love for each other than a code of honor, right? A code of ethics, that would put Black Chrysanthemum's, like loyalty closer to Boba.
You can call him the same as Bones says. He calls him Black Croissant.
Black Croissant. Like, I've always called him Black Croissant, but BK, right? Closer to Boba than closer to his employee or to employer, right? But regardless, whatever is going to happen, you better believe we're going to see that Wookiee fight. We are absolutely going to see that Wookiee fight. I mean, that's going to be amazing. That's going to be so freaking dope. Right? Oh. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the scar on his face
came from Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Right, that's what I thought. So the scar on his...
he attacked Owen Lars, downed Owen Lars for a moment, and Kenobi had to, he was trying to decide whether or not to, use his lightsaber and out himself on Tatooine, but he had no choice and gave him the scar.
Yeah. So I'm like, this is in my mind, this is an amazing, it's an Easter egg on multiple levels, right? But the Hutts, the twins, they're like, look, sleep softly, Mr. Boba, because we're not done with you yet. And they just kind of walk away. And
they walk.
Well,
they're carried away.
Carried away. I gotta point out. I'm gonna throw a little bit of a loop here for you. It's also possible that we could see, and I mean, it's always possible we could see anybody at this point. But it's possible that we could see my man, the myth, the man, the legend, Hondo Ohnaka. Okay, you ready for this? I have a theory. Hondo is one of those guys carrying the litter, and he smuggled himself in.
I saw no Wookiee pirates.
There was a Wookiee there.
I'm going back to look.
There's one. He was on the right-hand side, and you have to look as like they're about to turn the corner. I do love that they have to walk completely into the street before they turn the corner. That's how big this thing is. And if you watch the any of the trailers, the interviews with Tamora or Ming, that both of them were like, we were staring at them carrying something, right? So those extras were like actually carrying the litter, and there was Hutts of some kind on the litter that they were acting to. But that looked heavy. Like that.
It was sagging in the middle.
Yeah, that legitimately looked heavy, right? Yeah.
Hey, they're no King Xerxes.
No,
they're no King Xerxes.
Not. Although, I mean, they had the jewelry, but not nearly as much.
No.
Not nearly as much. So that is the first, 16 minutes, right, of the episode, right? As far as, present-day storyline, I loved it. I thought it was great. I definitely want it to make a switch in this next episode. I want to see more upfront, in the moment story and fewer flashbacks, right? But I gotta say, there are some things that this moment brings up. Okay, so why did the Hutt twins wait so long to take over Jabba's kingdom? Right? Where is Jabba's son? Right? Do we know what's been going on with him? Do we know what's happened to him? Is he dead? Is he alive? Would he have a claim to the throne at all? Like, I think
but you're talking about a layer of storytelling there that's like 3 levels deep.
I know
Stuff they do on the TV, that's all level 1 stuff. They might bring some of the level 2 backstory stuff into it if it serves the purpose of the level 1 narrative, the story that they're playing out in their head. What you're talking about is like story, like it's like level 3 depth. It's a depth within a depth within a depth. And for story, for narrative stuff, for story stuff like that, to make it onto the TV, it's got to go through so many different levels before before it comes to the screen. Which is why I've made the flashbacks.
Yeah.
I've made my peace with the flashbacks.
Have you?
Yes, I have 100% made my peace with the flashbacks. They are. It's a. I've having watched episodes 1 and 2 now. I've put them all together and I've come to the wonderful conclusion that it's just a beautiful piece of one-off story. That's all it is. It's just a one-off story. We see Boba Fett initially in rags carrying the stick, carrying his stick, right? And when we get the Book of Boba, it's like, oh, so at some point during the show, we're going to figure out why and how he gets his gaffy stick.
Yeah,
it's been done. What they did was they took a nice. I mean, it's weird. After I pieced it all together, I kept on thinking to myself, you know what? I could have swore that this was a Western. Injured man gets captured, taken in by a hostile force. There's a language barrier between the two. He tries to escape and gets away, and they drag him back, and it's like, you're not getting away. I mean, not just Western, this could be sci-fi. I mean, for all I care, it doesn't matter. And then obviously,
but it does follow the Western pattern.
Exactly, it follows the Western pattern. And then he gets some horses and teaches them how to ride. And they rob the they stop the train. They stop and rob the train, and then the group leader instructs the group warrior to
but you're getting way ahead here though.
Neil. But you're about to go on a journey, because what they would do is they would sit him down in a teepee and light up some really
you're hold on, because you are getting way ahead.
Am I?
Yeah. But, okay. But I think that you bring up a good point, because this is where we are done, more or less, right? This is where we've moved from current timeline.
As soon as we see this guy, we then get the conclusion of the one-off story that Neil's talking about.
We get the conclusion of the gaffy stick, right? And I loved it. I thought that was dope AF. I loved the flashback in this episode. I liked the flashbacks in the other one, but the flashback in this one was a story unto itself, right? And I think the purpose of that flashback was to show us just what Dalton Miles is saying in the comment section. Boba has an army of Tuscans. Boba has united the clans. And so when that mayor is like, raising bounty hunting is nothing to raising a family. Raising a family is tough, right? It's difficult, right? But he doesn't know that Boba has united the clans. That's what we're gonna see. I'm calling it now.
We have not seen that though.
Haven't we though?
No, we haven't.
I think that's what we saw at the very end, and I'll get to that here in a second. I'll get to that at the end, but
we'll get to that at the end. But before that, we do see the whole entire we see the train.
Yes.
We get the whole train, the beginning of the train. Then
Yes.
Boba taking part in the burial of the people that were killed in the
Yep. And the burning of the Bantha.
The burning of the Bantha and the burning of the bodies.
Yeah, it's true. Right.
So, but just as night falls, he notices the same Tatooine raiders.
Oh, yes.
That beat up the person in the first episode.
Yes.
And then marked the walls. He sees the same raiders, not Tuscan, mind you.
Nope.
And they weren't Wookiee either.
No, they are not Wookiee.
And it was the same race that was holding the litter on the right-hand side that you tried to claim was a Wookiee.
Clantuinian.
Yes.
Or Clatuinians.
So
something.
He sees them, he tracks them down. He goes into the bar where they are and just deals massive damage.
Yes. So
badass Boba.
So I've brought up the image. So a couple of things. Okay. So first off, yes, this is the badass that we
we love and expect.
Yes, this is the one that we were coming to expect, right? So after the initial, they show up, they're fighting, and the train passes them. He says, "Let me go. I'll come back with some bikes, or I'll take care of the train."
He said, "Yeah, I'll take care of I'll take care of this."
He walks into a station. And these. Now, this is a huge callback to the originals. Okay? Now, on the screen, on the bottom left-hand side, this is the first time we see. It was from the first episode. It was those gangsters, right? This is not the Lars homestead. It looks like the Lars homestead. This is Tashi Station. Okay?
Yep, there are some power converters.
Right? Now, here's the thing about this, right? Like, if you go back, there was a cutout scene in A New Hope that introduced us to two characters. I forget what their names were, but they were like Luke's BFF. I think in one of the books, I want to say it's one of the.
Are you talking about the actor and the actress from the deleted scene?
Yes,
I know who you're talking about.
So they have names, they have a whole character description. There's a series of comics that show up, and is it Cammy? Drummer and Cammy Drummer's the
Cammy is
Cammy's the
Luke's
woman.
Cammy's the woman that Luke wanted to go to the station to see all the time.
Yeah, so
that is not Cammy though.
I disagree. Because on the Book of Boba Fett IMDb page, it says Mandy Kowalski, and her name is Cammy. She is the woman in that scene.
Okay, so she is the woman who Luke in the novelization of The Last Jedi.
Yes.
Who Luke imagines is his wife.
Yep. And she is the one, let's see. Does it say? Mandy Kalawansky. But they call her Cammy. Let me bring up some pictures real quick. And I do love the image. Oh, damn you. I do love this image of this guy, and I'm going to share it because it is adorable. So these two guys, these two characters are, what do you call it? They're the ones. They're the ones that were left out on the cutting room floor that bring in the connection to A New Hope, right? They are.
Well, no, it's not. It's not linking A New Hope. It's just linking characters from A New Hope.
True.
It's not linking. It's not linking anything directly into the episode. It's simply linking, the link that is occurring is characters. It's characters are linking. That's all.
True.
It's just characters linking.
So, let me bring this up. So these are the two characters. It's on a slide. So we've got. All right. So the woman and the man. So this is Cammy, and the man's name is, I don't know, like Frank or something. I don't
Bob.
something. Bob, the Star Wars. Isn't his? He looks scared, right? Or constipated. I'm not entirely sure which one he looks. Like maybe he just sharted himself in front of her, and like he feels, oh crap, right? No, but here's the thing. So Robert Rodriguez, Jon Favreau wrote all of the episodes except the penultimate one. The penultimate one, second to last, was written by Dave Filoni. Okay? We know that. All right. You ready for this? Now, in the pre-show, I told Nev and Paul that the future ruler of Earth, Dictor von Doomcock, has come out and said that these three gentlemen are giving a middle finger to Kathleen Kennedy. Okay? And this is my interpretation of what he said. Okay? So, we have this throwback. We have Tosche Station being brought in. We have two of the original characters that were cut out from A New Hope, right? They exist. They had a whole storyline in old canon, right? You have these Clantuinians come in and just beating the ever-living crap out of something that was already existed, right? That was bad. That was canon before, right? Then you have Boba Fett walking in with a gaffy stick, destroying those guys, right? Now, it all comes down to this letter on what this guy is spray painting on the outside of Tosche Station. Okay?
It's a T.
It's not a T. It's Arabesh. And it's a K. There are two of them.
KK.
KK, right? And this is what Doomcock is saying, is Boba Fett goes in and it destroys everything that KK is establishing, right? Now, it's a stretch. It is a stretch.
Okay, it's an
interesting theory.
It's a T split down the middle. K is a box.
Arabesh?
In Arabesh, yes. Once again, Victor Van Doomcock is blowing smoke up people's ass just to get a rise out of them.
No, he wouldn't do that. He did do that. Okay. He was looking apparently at the wrong.
He's looking at the wrong letter.
It is a T. You're right.
It's a T.
Well, I feel like a turd.
You know what? Turd begins with a T.
Oh, Paul, why don't you rub it in a little more?
Salt.
I'm not rubbing your turd.
Salt.
Don't rub my turd in. Oh man, it is. Now, in my defense, and this is why.
In your defense, you said in the pre-show you're going to bring this up and blow our minds.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
the simplest response is I'm changing my opinion on this, Matt, because
I am changing. New information has come to light.
New information has come to light. Therefore, I'm changing my
now.
There we go.
I will say this in my defense. You're absolutely right, Paul. It is. I'll bring up the Arabesh alphabet. Paul is absolutely right. And Dictor von Doomcock is wrong on this one. Now, it would be nice. I mean, wouldn't that be awesome if that were the case?
No.
I mean, wouldn't I mean I say awesome, but like it's a fun. No, I'm gonna say it. I would say it would be fun if that were the case. Now, Paul, I've brought up the Arabesh alphabet. Let me arrange it a little better. I'm going to cover your name real quick, but you're right. Dictor Van Doomcock is wrong. And this, ladies,
if anything, it's an L and a backwards L. Okay.
So, but I will say, this is why it's always important to do your own research and not just take information from from a YouTube personality. No harm. I do love to watch Our Future Ruler of Earth, but I've made a complete ass of myself. So, which, if you've ever watched any of my videos, you know that, right? You're familiar.
You are a certain person, very much like the Mike Zero of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
Indeed, I do like to make some wild accusations. Well, now that I feel like a complete tool, let us go and talk about the train. Now, he gets the...
Well, no, before we even get to the train, Bantha.
Well, but the best... Now, hold on. The best part of the whole thing was he comes in, they make the alarm. They're like, oh, they're, like, someone's coming. And, he shows up riding on the Harleys, whatever. And he's like, he walks up to the chieftain and he's like, here, I've brought these. This is my gift to you. And immediately they start tearing apart the things. And he's like, no, those are mine. Don't touch them. Those are mine. And I'm like...
And at the very end, the guy, after they all stop, just a full second later, and then Chuck.
Yeah. I thought... I loved that, right? I thought it was dope, right? So he goes and he's like, this is how we're gonna do it. And so then you have the training sequence, right? This is what you were talking about, Nev. This is the Western style,
Lawrence of
montage. Lawrence of Arabia. I will say, though, we did ask for a montage. We mentioned it last time. We're like, we need a montage. We need and we got one.
We did say we were going to get a montage. We did get
We got one. And it was awesome, right? And, like, I got to say, so I watched it twice. I watched it one time all the way through. I watched the first half, then I stopped and watched the second half. And then I went back and watched the first half again. And so, like, I gotta say that I really enjoyed it. But, like, what was awesome about this is, like, even in the montage, I was really excited for what was going to happen. I thought it was so neat to see them connecting. Oh, so, okay, hold on.
Teaching them how to ride.
Teaching
like
them
bantha.
like a bantha, right? And that will be...
You gotta get the smile in.
He was...
There you go.
Like, super inappropriate, but, like, I love that. Now, hold on.
Breaking news,
Paul. Jorge says that it's a K in Nalhatese, not Arabesh. So let's go back.
I see this.
Let's go back. It is absolutely a K in Nalhatese. And so let me bring it up. Oh my gosh. See, this is why we have...
The whole theory fell down if those symbols weren't Ks. And
oh yeah, the whole theory is moot. Like, it doesn't make any sense if those aren't Ks. But if those are Ks, and it looks like they are absolute Ks.
Okay, finish the rest of the theory then.
The theory is that this is... all right, so jumping back, the theory that Doomcock presents is that this is Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, and Robert Rodriguez putting in and saying, look, this we understand, fans, that that you guys are not happy with 7, 8, and 9, right? So, because think about this. What is the Book of Boba? It's part of the Mandoverse, right? And that's what people are looking at it. It's not the sequel series. It's something totally new. It's something totally different, right? You have these people, these gangsters who are signing KK, and what does Boba do? He goes and beats the ever-living crap out of them.
Just 1K.
They are powerless. Well, it's 1K, but it's done twice on both sides of the door.
But it's on one side of the bike, unless you count two sides of the bike.
I get that, but like for the scene, and again, you have to really want to believe this theory, right? I mean, I
obviously you want to believe it.
I want to believe that good storytelling is on the rise.
I demand the next time we stream, you have the X-Files I Want to Believe poster in your background for all future episodes. That photograph of the flying saucer with the words, I want to believe.
I do believe. I spent all day watching. So I've got the COVID. It's done, or I'm safe to go back to work, apparently. But I've spent this whole time in quarantine watching Ancient Aliens.
Oh, no.
The whole time.
The guy with the hair that goes.
Oh, I love that guy. I love that guy. He's my
friend
Giorgio
used to date him.
Tsoukalos.
Yeah, my friend used to date him.
Lucky.
She said it was a very interesting period.
I bet. I bet.
Was this your other podcast friend?
No. This is somebody. This is someone I've known for close to a decade.
That's awesome. Anyways, like, well, that plus Archer plus Futurama, you've got to mix it up. Plus I've been reading a book about Resident Evil, so, it's been a weird couple of days for me. All right, so Nal Hutties, definitely KK.
It's there.
It's there. I mean,
it's a K. Yeah, it's right there. It's a K.
It's a K. It is in your face. Now, I'm not sure that those three gentlemen are petty enough to do something like that, right? I mean, they are Clatuinians, so it could be something, like, hey, our name starts with a K in Hutties, whatever. I mean, it could be any number of things, but I don't think they're petty enough to do that. I think it's a really interesting theory, though. Like, I really do.
Yeah, no, it's the Star Trek Voyager episode where 7 of 9 takes him way too much information, and she starts piecing together various different bits and pieces and coming up with conspiracy theories based purely off the fact that she's just taken him way too much.
Yeah,
she knows too much. She literally knows too much. And she's got like 3 different conspiracy theories all going off at the same time. So yeah.
This is likely just that situation, Nev. I mean, like, as fans, we know this stuff, right? and you have to want to believe that there is a fight behind the scenes going on, and he does. Doomcock does. But anyways, back to the show. Because we're 58 minutes in and we're only halfway through the episode. All right, so oh, balls. I totally spaced it. Where are we? He brings back, and then
we got the montage.
We got the montage,
and then now we have the train heist.
Yes, the train heist. Now, there was a lot of really cool moments in this. We see the Tuscans working together. They're not necessarily, according to them, they're not necessarily a violent. This tribe, at least, isn't violent. They're not peaceful necessarily.
He says that later. We're not the savages.
Yeah, right. They're but he trains them. They work really well together, right? We see Tuscan snipers. We see Tuscan road warriors. They all get on the train and they have an amazing fight scene, right? I thought it was awesome. I thought it was really well done. Now, one thing that stuck out to me, or there were three things actually that stuck out to me. One, Boba goes back and saves someone at the risk of his own life, right? Now, obviously, he's the main character. He wasn't going to die, but he goes back and he saves...
With a blown engine.
With a blown engine to save someone, right? Who I do believe later gets shot. He's one of those that is on top of the train and gets shot. I don't think he gets killed, but he gets shot for sure. Two, and I've been calling her the Tuscan Ninja, right? She's the one that's been training Boba with the gaffy stick, right? The one in all black.
Tuscan warrior.
She is just a Tuscan warrior, but like the way that she moves is amazing. Played by the same woman who does tons of stunts for, like, she was in Captain Marvel, and she was in a few other pretty big names things, but really amazing as an actress. Kind of a kick-a. When she sees her people are in trouble, rams the train with the bike and like springs herself onto board, and then I assume murders a bunch of pikes, right? That was awesome, right?
I'm watching it again right now.
That was dope. Like she jumps onto the train
and rams the middle of the train to cut off the fact that they're coming from the back end of the car.
Yeah, and so she gets onto the car, and then you see her silhouette moving through the train, just beating people up. And then when that thing pops up, the hood, the top of the thing pops up, and you expect it to be another member of the Pike Syndicate. No, it's her, right? And like I thought it was awesome. Like it's a moment of kind of levity, but also a huge moment of badassery.
By the way, the one he rescued is not the one who gets shot.
Not the one. Okay.
They're the one who pulls them to. Actually, they're the one firing backwards.
Okay.
Covering their six.
Gotcha. I loved this. Like this was awesome. And again, this is like it's fun to see it, but like I don't ever think of I don't think of this as a true Western, but it totally is. Right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a train heist in your standard Western.
Yeah. Like this was amazing. Like Nev, I'm glad that you pointed that out because this was awesome. Are there any moments that you guys were like during this scene that you were just like blown away by? Any other moments?
The whole entire thing was. Yeah, the whole entire thing was adrenaline pumping.
Yeah, I agree. Nev, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed seeing the conclusion of the story, and I can take away from it that is what it is. It's just a story. There's no tenuous link to any other part of lore or legend or anything. It's just a story from Boba Fett's life. In the style of Cowboys and Indians Western.
Oh, I'm going to disagree with you on that one. I think this opens up.
I think it was just the story of this is where he got his stick that you see him have in The Mandalorian.
I think this opens up way more than that. Now, so the heist, the heist is over, right? They win the train, right? What does Boba do right then? He
gathers all the pikes outside.
He doesn't kill them. He gives them supplies to make it back.
Asks if they're running drugs.
Figures out that they are, right, in the funniest way, right? Because you know that guy who dropped the case, who got covered in spice, was totally hallucinating after that.
He was tripping balls off.
He was like walking through the desert like, whoa, are these my hands? Let's go kiss
I
a
like
Sarlacc.
sand.
I
It's
love
coarse and rough and gets
sand.
everywhere.
Yeah, like you gotta know that guy was totally stoned. I want to see an after the credits film with just him, like hallucinating. I think
We also get the Pikes without a mask.
Yeah, that's cool. So we see. I mean, I think we see him a little bit without. Didn't we see him in? Was it Clone Wars or Bad Batch?
We saw this is the first live action.
But the
Pike.
the first live action without a mask. They're very aquatic. Boba made a deal with them. So while we are, so I don't think that this is just a hey, where'd you get the stick? Because
he didn't make a deal
he
with the
proposed.
Pike. No, he acted as the mediator to a deal between the Pikes and the Tuscans.
And that's my point.
He simply negotiated a deal between two parties.
He
wasn't part of the deal. He doesn't get anything from the deal. He was being the middleman for a deal between the Tuscans and the Tuscans of the Dune Sea and the Pikes. He wasn't part of the deal.
So let me tell you what I mean by that. When he says he made the deal, Boba did make a deal. The episode is called "The Tribes of Tatooine." Okay. Like we have this moment where he's making this deal for the Tuscans on behalf of the Pikes. Now here's the thing though. Jump forward in the future. We can assume
he does use. Let me point out real quick. He does use the word "our" civility.
Yeah. So here's the thing though. He not only does that, like we can assume that deal is in continuation, right? The Pikes are honoring it. The Tuscans are honoring it. Everything's going like we can assume that's continued, right? So if we can assume that's continued, who are indebted? Who are the people that are indebted to Boba right now? The Tuscans and the Pikes. He's created a peace there, right? And so yes, we have tribes of Tatooine. We could argue that one of the tribes was the Pikes. One of the tribes clearly is the Tuscans. Boba is creating his own tribe by being the daimyo of Mos Espa. Right? I mean, that's so when the Hutts come in and the mayor is like, "Oh, you can't just take over." Well, I've already got my own army. Someone, I think it was Bones or Jorge said in the comments earlier that he has an army of Tuscans. I don't think he just has an army of Tuscans. He's not working alone right now. I think he is fully working with other people. I think he has off-world connections that we haven't seen just yet.
What, Boba?
Yeah, Bubba.
When do you think he made these connections?
Remember, Book of Boba Fett is not that far timeline-wise
It's not
from The Mandalorian Season 2 when we saw him with the Tuscans at that time.
Yeah.
It's only 6 years. 6 years.
He had connections beforehand, right? But like in
No. Not just 6 years.
Yeah.
Mandalorian Din Djarin met Boba to take down the Crate Dragon.
That wasn't Boba though.
That wasn't Boba. That was the Marshal.
That was the Marshal.
Boba Fett's uniform.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the Marshal in Boba Fett. That was
the Marshal in Boba Fett's Mandalorian.
Yeah. He doesn't meet Boba until Boba shows up to claim the armor in Book 2 of the Mandalorian.
Mandalorian season 2. That's why I'm saying 6 years and not 5 years.
Yeah.
Because we don't see him until year 6, and the question I'm asking Thaddeus is, how does he make those? These connections that you say that he's got. Were they made in the 6 years immediately after? Taking into consideration, you got to write off that first year at least, because he's got out of the Sarlacc, and he's effectively been taken prisoner. He's had to, spend weeks, if not months, currying their favor, getting in their good graces. Then he's got to be trained, and all that stuff's got, all that flashback story stuff has to happen over a period of time.
Yeah.
Right. And then there is him doing what, I mean, we don't, there are no stories about the end of that and the beginning of the Book of Boba, or, the story, the stuff that happened in The Mandalorian. I'm just saying, where the connections that he would have had prior to the destruction of the second Death Star probably scattered to the four winds like the Empire was.
Yeah, no, I agree, but that doesn't mean they're gone, right?
No, the scoundrels and the pirates, they'll still be around.
Well, that's my point. That's my point. That's who we're going to be connected with, right?
Yeah, the underworld isn't going to change. The
underworld
isn't.
So here's so to answer your question, Nev, I think what we're going to see is, I think that just right off that whole first year at the very least, right? But what he's doing is he's making connections with the Tuscan Raiders within that first year, right? I would be willing to bet that I don't know, that what we saw in episode 1 was probably maybe the first few weeks, maybe the first few months, right? But at the end of those few months, he was able to save that Tuscan child, provide the kid with like the head of the sand monster, and then win over the respect, or at least consideration of, the chief, the leader, right? Now it probably took him a little bit longer to, win consideration of, to be able to train. He probably did something else. Maybe not something major, maybe something a little minor, but something, again, to build reputation, right? And then, after that fight, he's able to say, after he helps, bury or burn the dead, that's when he's like, okay, let me help you, right? I think 6 months at the very least before he starts that. And then you've got a couple of months of training, right? A couple of weeks at the very least of training.
A montage?
The montage worth of training, right? So yeah, first year. But that leaves, if by your math, 5 years of connection. Now, at the very end, and I'll talk about this at the end, but I think those people that are represented in the dance are other tribe leaders. I don't think that's other tribes of this tribe. I think those were other leaders, because they all held gaffy sticks. And I don't think everyone gets to carry a gaffy. I'm not sure about that, but that's just my feeling. Right? Now, having said that,
I think it's all the adults that have passed into, like,
righteous,
past the right.
Possibly. And that would make a lot of sense too.
But
right?
Remember, we still haven't covered how he got the gaffy stick yet.
I know.
We stopped Neil just before that.
I know, but that's my point though. Is like, he has made connections, and if what we are talking about is still, if this treaty or truce or whatever is still in force, then Boba Fett has 5 years of contact with or connection with the Pikes, right? And who do the Pikes work with and work for? Well, they're trading spice, right? So they're trading spice with all of the people of the underworld. We know that the Pikes are connected to Crimson Dawn, or not Crimson Dawn. Crimson Dawn. They're connected to Maul's syndicate. Now, even though Maul's dead at this point,
Black Sun.
Was it Black Sun?
I believe Black Sun.
Who was it? Who were the sisters connected to? Nev's favorite characters in all of Star Wars. The sisters Martez. No, they were connected. I'm looking it up. They were connected to the somehow to, because it led back to Boba, because it led back to the Mandalore. It led back to Mandalore, not the Mandalore. Right?
I'm sorry.
Did I lose you?
No, yeah. You started talking about some sisters.
The Sisters
in
Martez
Star Wars or something
from the Clone
and
Wars.
I just kind of like switched off.
Your favorite characters. Sisters Martez with Ahsoka. Those 3 episodes of season 7 of Clone Wars.
It was
Whoa,
4.
I did it again. Sorry, you lost me again. You were talking about 2 sisters and something, and I kind of drifted off.
All right, so there were characters in Clone Wars that sucked, and they ran Spice, and they were terrible at it, and they got picked up by the Pikes.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right?
Okay,
and so, but it was the Pikes selling to, I think it was selling to Crimson Dawn. I mean, it could have been selling to Black Sun because Crimson Dawn and Black Sun worked together, but one way or the other was all connected.
I mean, ultimately, this is you putting out there the tenuous links regarding what we already agreed and discussed months ago.
Yes.
That the Book of Boba Fett was going to be about, which is going to be some great underworld syndicate war involving various different syndicates. So you're saying that the 2 syndicates the 2 syndicates that you're discussing at the moment could be brought into the show. They could be part of one of the factions that's involved in the fighting.
Will be brought into the show. And Paul has got the evidence. Paul, show us what you got in your hand.
The Pikes work with Crimson Dawn.
Crimson Dawn also works with Black Sun. Now, if you take a look, if you look back, and all of this is simply to answer your question, where are these connections coming from? Okay? And so if Boba's connected to the Pikes, then automatically he's connected to a few of these other ones. Or at least he has access to them. And it is my point that in 5 years, he has at least developed some kind of relationship. Now, I think the rest of this episode the rest of this season is going to be focusing on him declaring himself daimyo of Mos Espa, right? Him taking on the Hutts. I think that's all it's going to be. Which makes it sound like it's not going to be exciting and awesome, but it will be.
But let's go ahead. We are running long, so let's quickly talk about the Geico commercial that happened at the very end of the episode.
The nose lizard. Yeah,
he wanted Boba to save 15% or more on car insurance.
He did, and he really wanted to get that in. But can I just point out how awesome it was when Boba's handed this lizard, and his response is, "Oh, thank you." Like, it's every parent has had that moment when their child gives them something, and they're like, it's the most precious thing to that person, and the person who receives it is like, thank you. I don't know what to say. Right? I loved that, right? And then the lizard gets blown into Boba's nose, which was terrifying. That's the fear. And
can we talk about the vision though?
Oh yeah, no, I just wanted to say that the response was, I'm sorry, I think I swallowed it. the best part of the whole episode in my mind. But the vision, yes, Paul, go. Take us, go.
So he's obviously on the dunes of Tatooine, right, Neil?
Dunes,
yes.
But we see it undulating like the waves of Camino.
Oh yes.
Okay, yeah.
It is a sea.
And we have the entire back and forth between Boba armor, young Boba, Camino, Tatooine, tree. I liked what who did I link you guys to earlier today?
Awesome.
New Rockstars. New Rockstars talked about how with the 2 trees, the 2 trees were symbolizing the fact that the tall one was the Tuscans and the short one was the Jawas.
It had Jawa eyes.
And the Jawa eyes that were in the back in the background during the closing, the pictures, it was Jawas that were around the tree.
Yeah.
So I mean, I loved the mind trippiness that was the Vision.
I agreed. 100%.
Neil, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, he was, he'd been handed the peace pipe. He took a big hit from the bong. He went on a spiritual journey, and he came back with a stick.
Yep. And then
I got the stick, George.
Then he whittled the stick, right? The whittling was probably one of the best parts, right? Now let's close it up, right? Because we have run long. Two things. I just gotta say let me see where it is.
I do have to say one of the best things to do is watch the very, very final scene.
That's what I was gonna bring up.
To Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Oh.
If you watch the very final scene to Michael Jackson's Thriller,
yeah,
it syncs up perfectly.
Does it?
Yeah.
I'll have to watch that. I gotta say though, one of the cool things for me, what I loved about this was this reminded me very much of the I've been in my mind, I've been thinking about the Oaxaca dance that is done by Pacific Islanders. So in Utah, we have a huge Pacific Islander population, and they have this like powerful dance, and it's all about screaming and intimidation. And what's funny is New Zealand has part of that culture. It's the Oaxaca. I think they may call it something else, but it's part of their culture.
In New Zealand, they just call it the haka.
The haka, okay. Man, I might be totally mispronouncing it. I am. They do the haka at the start of every single rugby match. International rugby match. Yeah. They do that.
It means dance in Maori.
Okay, so but it's intimidating AF. Like, it is scary to see these like huge guys, like especially rugby guys doing it. Like, I see like BYU football players do it, and it's like dancing soup. But what's cool about this is Tamora Morrison used to do it, like on set, right? Like he'd get people hyped, and like it was cool to see them all connected around this fire dancing, because it felt like very connected and tribal and like empowering. And I'm like, this is about to get off the chain. Like if episode 3 is a letdown, I'm gonna be pissed, because the bar it went from like, it kind of like slowly like went up, and all of a sudden it was like almost a vertical shoot for me. Like,
I don't
like
think
infection rates.
I don't think we're gonna get any flashbacks in episode 3. I think episode 3 is gonna be all about the present. I don't think there's gonna be another flashback.
I'd say we get 2.
I'm hoping that it's just not. I don't care, to be honest. I just hope that it's not
30 minutes long and slow.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be all in the present. There will be no flashbacks in episode 3. It doesn't need it. What this season needs now is a full episode of the present storyline. They need to start, linking things up, and getting into the second act of the story. Episodes 1 and 2, great first act.
Yeah.
Now it's time for act 2.
Amen.
So it needs to be stuff in the present. Yeah, they can throw some more flashbacks in act 3 towards the end. But right now we need the present. We need the meat of the story.
Yeah.
We don't need any more flashbacks. We need them to put all their time for the next 1, maybe even 2 episodes on the story in the present. And they need to keep the episodes over 50 minutes long so that we can get lots of story time in.
Agreed. Episode 3 will not be 50 minutes long.
How long will it be?
38 minutes.
That's all right. That's okay for full.
If you take out
38 minutes, 38 minutes of present story time telling, I'd be happy with that.
Agreed.
38 minutes or 38 minutes including credits?
That's going to be including credits. So
it's including credits.
So that's 33
minutes.
Yeah, it's going to be short.
Yeah,
it's going to be short.
So
that's why I don't think they'll do flashbacks.
They better not. Like, I will be upset.
they do flashbacks, it's going to take away so much time from them telling
Mm-hmm.
the present story. And if they want to keep me, they need to hook me in with the story that they've got going in the present right now. I don't need no more flashbacks.
No,
I don't need them, and I don't think many other people. It's a nicety right now. It's not a necessity.
Yeah. No, I agree. So, gentlemen, let's wrap it up. What were we talking? What was our ranking?
How full the bacta tank was.
How full is the bacta tank?
How full is the bacta tank? Okay, so Nev, you were what are your thoughts?
I was happy with the way that the story concluded. That was a positive for me. Still not knowing enough about the present story. It's all over the place at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Not as streamlined as the flashback story was. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
The way that story played out was beautiful. But yeah, it's the present day stuff that I'm just not feeling it. So I'm going 60% full.
Okay. Paul?
So the second half was 100% full to me.
Okay.
The first, let me get the exact time. By the way, 4 minutes and 30 seconds of credits on the last one.
So probably 32.
So, okay. The first 14 minutes of the show, 50% full.
Really?
I still have not become attached to these characters until the time that Black Chrysanthemum showed up.
All right.
Because I know Black Chrysanthemum now. You know.
Yeah.
And him making it to live action blew my mind. And that prepared me for the rest of the show. Overall, 70% full.
Okay. I'm definitely with you when it comes to the last half. The last half, I think, storyline was great. I would say 100% full. I am into the first half. They've got me, right? But I'm easily pleased. You guys know this. Like,
yes,
easily pleased.
Very easily pleased.
And so for me, that first half, because it was so much better than episode 1, like, to me, it was like 90%. So, like, I'm right at a 95% full, right? Like, you're completely submerged. And if you're looking for oxygen, there's only going to be a little bit of space between you and the glass. That's how full it is for me. Now, that could drop quickly if episode 3 is trash. Right? If like Nev says, if there are no flashbacks, I think it'll do fine. If there are flashbacks, it's going to have to be perfect. Right?
You're easily
and
I took
not
away
some
from that.
cheap cameo.
Oh, there will be a cheap cameo.
If the flashbacks are cheap cameos, that's so disrespectful.
I don't think it'll be a cheap cameo, but I'm going to end with this.
A cheap
okay?
look.
Well,
all cheap cameos are cheap cameos unless it's got Bill Murray in it. Is Bill Murray going to do a cameo in Star Wars? Because I would love. I
wouldn't be upset by that.
I just want to say this, Thad. You talk about that you're easily pleased, but then you go and tell me that you're watching Doomcock talk about a Nell Hutta K.
Yeah. Easily pleased. Easily entertained too, man. It's the ADHD. Like, it's squirrel, right? This is the final thing that I will ask. Okay? This image is what was part of the final, like, push to get this show out. You have Fennec Shand on the left-hand side, you have Boba in the middle, and then you have clearly a space. That light is shining on someone. Who is it?
Well, it's going to be a CGI character.
All right.
It's a CGI. They did the exact same thing with Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah.
You saw in the trailer the Lizard King being hit in the face by nothing. And it's because obviously they'd CGI'd out Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So that's what's happened there is whoever that third character is a CGI character. So it could be your
Black Chrysanthemum.
It could be the Black Croissant, the evil Wookiee himself, or it could be
he's not evil.
Oh, it could be a droid. Could always be a droid. Droids get CGI'd in these days, didn't they?
They do quite a bit. Bosk is what I'm thinking.
Yellow Godzilla himself.
Yellow Godzilla. So those are my thoughts. I think we will see Bosk before the end. But ladies and gentlemen, we've actually had some good numbers tonight. So I'm glad you guys joined us. If you're watching this on replay, you've probably seen episode 3. How close were we? How far away were we? I'm very, very curious about that.
Tell us in the comments below.
Tell us in the comments below. So every Tuesday night before we go, or before the next show comes
before the
out,
next episode airs.
Thank you. Before the next episode airs, we're going to go live. We're going to talk about the last one. Gives us enough time.
Solomon Grundy says Dengar may show up as well. No, there was a toilet paper shortage. They wouldn't have been able to get the costume.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Everyone made a run for the bathroom, and Dengar just didn't make it. He got flushed. I am looking forward to this next episode. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. Like, subscribe, share. Check out Paul and the Nev every Friday for the Escape Pod cast show.
And if you like this banter, make sure you check out a week and a half from now on the Escape Podcast. If there isn't something utterly breaking.
Yeah, seriously. Do you guys have anything coming up, Nev?
We're on the GAC break, which is nice. Everybody's chilling out. Everyone's having a breather because the GAC is a lot more intense now than it was before. So that extra level of intensity definitely means people need the
time off.
But one of the top 8 will be joining us this week on the Escape Podcast.
Yeah, we do have one of the final 8.
Yep,
as they're being referred to.
Nice.
The Fatal, also known as the Playbook.
First ever final 8.
Very nice.
And over on the side channel, Vault 37 Studios, as you see, we have been playing Dimensions, the Toys to Life game that incorporates over 30 different franchises. Lots of fun over there.
Nice.
Hope you guys can join us for that as well. Vault 37 Studios on Twitch.
Nice. Well, gentlemen, thank you. As always, it is my pleasure. Have a great rest of the week. Stay safe out there. Paul?
Be nice to each other, damn it. Neil, what you telling Thad?
Push the button.
Which button?
The button.
The button.
The button. Push the button.